Good morning.
Hey, what's going on? We're doing it early morning today.
I know. How are you? How is everybody? Happy
Uh,
New Year.
Happy New Year, everybody. It's been a minute. We haven't
Mm.
been here. You miss me, bitch?
Yeah, I still had to see you though, unfortunately. Just kidding.
I know you love me.
Yeah, I'm glad. Honestly, so glad. 2024. Peace out.
Yeah, right.
We're
You had a
done.
rough 2024 for sure.
I did. So I
Let me
lost.
just say before you
Yeah.
go into it, I want to say I'm sorry for the loss of your mom.
Oh, thank you,
I
honey. Thank you.
yeah, I know that was a hard time and it's still hard. It's still fresh.
Yep. Yeah.
Um, I can't even imagine. I dread the day. But
Yeah.
how you doing anyway? How's the fam?
Okay, we're doing okay. It's we lost my mom in October.
Mm.
And I think that the it wasn't only the hard part of losing her. It was for me how I wasn't there, and how quick it was, right? You're told you have X amount of time and then you don't get that time, so
Yeah.
in your head you're thinking, oh, all right, I got time. But I live with the motto, life is not a dress rehearsal, make today count. I've been saying that for 20 years. People have stolen it off my lines, but anyway, I need to trademark that shit. But anyway, my point is that it we made the most of the time we had,
Yeah.
and
Just for the
to-
record, her mom lives in Boston. Her family lives
yeah,
in Boston.
yeah,
She's the American here,
yeah.
so she's away
And
from it.
I'm in a suburb of Toronto, and obviously wasn't there, but it's I not to say that I wasn't at every appointment virtually and at
Yeah.
every doctor's call, and
That
I
I know.
caregive.
Even I was at some.
If you want to talk about caregiving from afar, I think I could write a book. But
Yeah.
anyway, my it's as someone said to me the last week, in my head, it's like, okay, let's not move forward. You're never going to forget your mother.
No, you're
Unless
never
obviously
going to.
and we had six firsts in 3 months. So it wasn't
It's a
even
lot.
the loss of my mom, then it was like, oh, my birthday, American Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, her birthday, all these things
Yeah.
that I go to pick up the phone and be like, look at what I got for Christmas, or oh my gosh, thanks. I actually got a birthday card from her and my dad in her writing after she had passed, because she had sent it before she
Um,
passed. So,
um,
it's obviously that's something I will cherish, and it's hard. I have a daughter and I have nephews who, miss their yaya, and it's I don't want this to get into a whole conversation on death and dying, but my one piece of advice is what I always say, which is, you don't know how many days you have on this earth. Make the most of them.
mhm.
Don't be upset about the petty shit. Don't, all that stuff. As Greeks, we tend to, listen, we have a lot of opinions as Greeks, right? I was told a lot of things, both at her wake, funeral, after the fact, how I handled things, how things were handled, and that could be its own episode at another time. But I always say opinions are like assholes, and everybody's got one. Thank you, salt and pepper. But there's a time and a place. So my two pieces of advice: keep your opinion to yourself at that time
At
when
that
people are
time,
grieving.
yeah.
And secondly, you don't know how many days, none of us know how many days we have. So make the most of the time we have here.
Well, let's talk about opinions. So let's get into that. I'm going to talk about. So I've experienced a lot of death, as you know.
Mm-hmm.
My dad died when he was 57 years old. I was 26. I just celebrated my 26th birthday. And there was a lot of opinions, the way we do funerals and stuff like that. Not so much with my father, but when my brother died, who died at the age of 43. Excuse me, I have the hiccups now. Great. But so my family is very split politically down the middle. So my mom's side is very pro Macedonian. Don't call them Greek. They don't want to speak Greek. They want nothing to do with Greek.
Okay.
And then my dad's side is they live in Greece. They speak Greek. We go to Greek Orthodox Church.
Yeah.
We consider ourselves Greek Macedonian. And even a little bit of my brother, we're split, whatever. But when my brother Steve died, the politics came into play. So here I am trying to bury my brother and give him a good send off. And my cousins on my mom's side would be like, if you took him to a Greek church, he'd be rolling in his grave. He'd be so upset. And, and then the next phone call, oh, the kids, they're concerned. They're not going to understand what the priest says. And I said, who the fuck are you kidding? None of you guys married our own kind. Okay. They all married Xanos or Croatian, or they're all
Question
either.
though. We're still talking about the Orthodox Church. It's the same church.
But in their eyes, it's the language.
Ah, okay, okay,
And
okay.
but I'm like, I go, hold up a second. None of your fucking kids even speak Macedonian. So I speak Macedonian, and when I go to the Macedonian Orthodox Church, it's a different dialect. I don't understand it. So when I go
Fair,
to
fair.
church, whether it be Greek or Macedonian, I don't understand it unless it's English, right?
Yeah, fair.
So they're trying to say that their kids that are younger than me, that don't speak any kind of Macedonian, are concerned about going to a Greek church. And I said, okay, you guys are like, fuck off, right? Like,
Yeah,
just.
yeah,
And then my uncle called and said, well, why don't you bury him in the Macedonian section? And I said, no, he's going to be buried with my father. And
yeah.
it's not even a Greek section, it's just a section of the cemetery.
This is the thing, right? Like
Yeah.
where all the Greeks are there, because I had a family member who was looking into their, sort of getting their plot in advance. And I
Mm-hmm.
didn't know up here, like it's so different where I come from. But up here, like they're like, well, we have to make sure it's near the Greek people. I was like, what Greek? What do you mean? They're like, where the Greeks are. I go, do you have like, because where I grew up, there is like the Catholics have St. Mary's Cemetery, St.
Mm-hmm.
Joseph Cemetery. So there were like the OG three or four Catholic churches in my city,
Yeah.
and they built those cemeteries in the 1800s.
Oh,
So if you went to that church, that's where you get buried. Like
yeah.
someone from St. Joseph doesn't get buried at St. Mary's, but here it's like there's a few Greek people in an area, let's call it 20 people, and now that's the Greek cemetery.
It's crazy.
It's
It's
insane.
it's just the politics is stupid. And yeah, so at a time that you're grieving, and unfortunately I wasn't talking to my brother when he passed, because we just had a volatile relationship, unfortunately. We worked very well together, but there was just stupid things. Um but he's buried with my dad, and when my mom goes, she'll be buried there too, so all three of them will be there. But yeah, opinions and actually I think we got a comment on one of our YouTube videos that
Mm,
I'm not Macedonian. I
okay.
am Bulgarian.
Okay.
And there's history there if you go back and whatever in the Balkans, whatever. But you're not Greek because you were born in America, not born in Greece.
Yeah, I chose not to comment to that person. Here's the thing. If you ask me my ethnicity, I say I am a Greek American living in Canada.
Yeah,
The Greek is first. The Greek has always been first. The
yeah,
Greek will continue to be first. I um grew up surrounded, and we've had go watch the past episodes. I grew up in the church. I grew up in the Greek school 3 times a week. I minored in modern Greek studies. I joke that when if I cut myself, it's blue and white and not red. So to the hater who says I'm not Greek, I can tell you to go F yourself, but I will choose to take the high road. And at the end of the day, I do have my Greek citizenship, so I am Greek, even though you don't think I'm Greek because I wasn't born there. I consider myself a Greek American living in
yeah.
Canada.
It's funny when we went back to Greece last October. We went to go get paperwork because we're trying to get our citizenship too. Tony
Hmm.
and I. Oh, we lost you, Rue.
Sorry, I'm back. I'm back, honey. Sorry.
Okay,
Sorry.
that's okay. So when we go back, we're asking for some paperwork. So we're in Florida in one of the government buildings, and the lady calls Tony a Xenos.
Ooh.
He was like, Signum. Uh, what? Like I am. I think they were literally conceived in Greece. They were on the plane coming in the mom's belly and then born here. But she's like, yeah, you don't live here, so you weren't born here. You're Xenos. And I'm like, wow. Like he was because he's so proud to be Greek. He's so proud. He loves his traditions, his ethnicity. He loves everything about it. He's so proud. And then the Greeks in Greece just dismiss us like, nah, you're just an outsider.
Well, I think it's, here's the thing. I always say that like my parents came in the early 70s. I think yours came in late 60s. When did they come? Late 60s?
66, they
Yeah.
came in Kent.
Okay. So my in laws came in the late 60s, whatnot. For me, I remember specifically when I went to Greece as a teenager,
Mhm.
I personally felt as though I held the Greek traditions more closely than my Greek family in Greece did.
Yeah.
I will never forget. We went to a cousin's wedding. It was like a second cousin that I had never met, and I was going to meet them at their wedding. Well, you know me, right? I'm like 19 years old. I put on a dress. I have the heels. I have the calzone because I wouldn't go to church without anyway, pantyhose, whatever, whatever. And
And
one
in
of my
Greece, they're what?
one of my boy cousins comes out in jeans and a button down. I was like, what?
I was shocked when I saw that.
I was
I
like,
was
what are you
shocked.
doing? I go, Big and Alex said, go change. And he was like, what do you mean? I was like, what are you wearing? We're going to a
Yeah.
wedding.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, but we don't fit in the church. They got married in a little tiny eklisaki of, so below the Parthenon, like you look up and there's the Acropolis,
Yeah.
but two people, the bride, the groom and the priest and the kubadi didn't even fit in the little church. We were all outside. We had no idea because we couldn't get close enough. And then anyway, my point in all this is that they look at me like I'm crazy because I still go to like recently, I would say in the post COVID, I started going to church in pants.
Mhm.
And it's not even like in slacks, right? Like not,
Yeah.
I'm not going to wear jeans to church. So that's just not who I am. But I always put on a skirt or a dress. And that
Yeah.
was because it was ingrained in me from my parents who came here. Because back then, that's what you did when you went to church.
Yeah. I always wore pants. Actually, when I was younger, I wore skirts. And it quickly changed because for those of you that grew up in Scarborough and went to a certain church, there was a priest that was a little bit of a freak.
Ah, yeah, yeah.
Did he get kicked out of the church? I don't know if he got kicked out or he quit or whatever,
I think
but
they let him leave on his own, on
yeah,
his own terms.
like I would see this guy in the cafes with somebody other than his wife. And anyway, I remember one Easter, we're at the front of the church. I don't know how we made it to the front of the church because like St. Nick's is just so packed. And my dad, I was wearing a skirt, nylons, he like
Yep.
whatever for Easter, and my dad literally just he pushed me behind him because he saw the priest looking at me, and
Oh,
I think that was the time I was like, yeah, I'm not going to wear a skirt anymore. Like this
yeah.
guy just creeped me out,
Yeah.
but I'm glad he's gone. He was a piece of shit priest.
Yeah.
So
Well, at the end of the day, they're human too. I don't know. We'll
they
leave it
are
at that.
human, but if you're going to take something, you're going to take your job, you're going to take this seriously, and you're supposed to represent and
Yeah.
um you know what you're getting into. No one
Yeah.
forced you into that life, right? So act accordingly,
Yeah.
you
But I
know.
think going back to the opinions, for me, it was more so, uh, I actually had someone tell me that the funeral home didn't do a good enough job.
Oh, they
Um,
didn't.
Yeah, literally, I'm literally the funeral's about to start. And I'm literally being told this. Doesn't look like her, which I thought they did a fabulous job. I have a friend who's a funeral director, and I literally have said that if wherever I am, I want him flown up to take care of me if I die before him because he's amazing. But yeah, and it was just a lot of it is, I wore black for 40 days, and
Yeah.
I had told my parents before. I will I will wear black for 40 days, but that's it.
Yeah.
I have a child. I can't be wearing black for 6 months, a year. Like I can't do it. I'm sorry. I like black. I tend to wear black, but I just can't. I will respect the tradition and do it for 40 days and that's it.
Okay, so
Um,
for the Xeni, so for
yeah.
the non-Greeks, 40 days is very significant in our religion, but do you know why, Rula?
Why 40 days is
Yeah.
significant?
Yeah, why the 40 days?
Was I'm gonna screw it up. I thought it had to do with the
Should I Google
present
it?
the OG when Jesus was presented to the temple in 40 days after he was born.
Yeah.
And then we held that 40 days to be true for so many things. If you will talk to people, they will tell you that similar to Catholics having purgatory, they will say that, it, I again. don't quote me,
I'm
but
gonna
they will say
Googling it.
that, the spirit is in limbo for 40 days. But again, that's taking the religious and non-religious together.
Here,
But
let's see.
Greeks have 40 days for everything. So what we do, while you're Googling, let me tell people. So you have, when someone dies, um, in some places in Greece, they do a 3-day memorial, a 9-day, and then you do 40 days, 6 months, and 1 year. And then after a year, usually you do every 3 years, you do a memorial mass. And part of the memorial mass is you have koliva, which is like
Mhm.
bulgur wheat. Is that what it translates to? I think. And usually there's pomegranates or raisins, and you put some decorations on top, and you have the person's name, and it's at the front of the church. And then as people are leaving, they take the little cup of the koliva, and they have it in memory of the deceased. Um, this is also something that ends up being blessed from the priest, so you can't throw koliva away. Usually, what happens if you have extra koliva, you go put it on the grave of your loved one, and then the birds can eat it.
Yeah, so okay, it's talking about the 40th day as a traditional memorial service, family gathering, ceremony, and ritual memory of the departed on the 40th day after his or her death. The
Right.
observation of the 40 day after death occurs in Eastern Orthodox and most Syriac Christian traditions. Um, you probably know that the Orthodox made a great deal about the first 40 days after death having memorial services. Okay, Russian, Greeks on the 3rd, 9th, and 40th. Yeah, we
Three,
have
9, and 40.
3 days,
Yeah.
9 days, and 40
Yes.
days.
Yeah. And then it goes 6 months, 1 year, 3 years, and then every 3 years after that. So I obviously we did my mom's funeral. I went back for the 40 days. I will go back for we will hold a 6 month and a 1 year memorial for her.
Hmm, hmm.
But it's an opportunity for everyone to get together. Usually there's like, for the 40 days, some people do a coffee hour at your church, or you take
Hmm.
them out to eat, or whatever
Yeah,
families choose to do. There's a gathering of some sort. And similarly, the you go to the cemetery, and the priest comes and he blesses the person,
yeah,
or the grave.
yeah,
And some people, the goal for some people is, if they have a tombstone, that at the 6 month they can show the tombstone, because who the hell knew it takes that long for a tombstone to be made?
yeah,
For us, there's not even a guarantee that it'll be ready for my mom's 6 month. Again, I grew up outside of Boston, so weather plays a factor, because they can't put it down if it's too cold.
yeah,
But regardless, it takes that long to have it created, like etched, and all the, that's a talent. Like, at the end of the day, you have to think about how many people go into like these jobs that people do. One of the things that made me realize is it has to be a calling if you do anything around death
death.
and dying.
I know, but I think the stone is a machine does it. I don't think it's done by hand
Girl,
anymore.
I don't know. We got a little old Italian man who, I swear, I think he's in the back, and I think he's doing these by
There's got to
himself
be a
where we went.
machine. Like,
But regardless, the
yeah,
the funeral, you look at a person, an embalmer. You look at the person who puts makeup on the
makeup, the
deceased.
hair,
You
everything. I
look
couldn't do
at,
it.
right?
My
Uh,
friend's ex-husband was a funeral director and an embalmer and stuff like that. And some of the stories he's told us, it's pretty
a different
freaky.
episode. I'm like, a
It's a
different.
different episode for sure.
But that
Absolutely.
was a lot of why, you guys, I needed to take the time to grieve, to be
Yeah.
quite honest with you. And Val, you had your own losses in 2024. So it wasn't, we both had our ups and downs with the year. I'm grateful it's over. Um,
2024 was good for us and bad for us. It was, I'm happy that it's over. We did lose Tony's sister at the end of August to that shitty disease, cancer.
yeah,
And, but yeah, and we worked a lot too. So there was a lot. It was just a lot. But it was also good for me. I won 2 speaking competitions. Um, I decided in January, and then boom, here we are today. And 2025 is going to be exceptional for us both.
it will be. I
Yeah.
have no doubt about that. I have no doubt.
Oh,
Awesome.
but
So we
yeah,
want people to keep tuned. Make sure to Like, subscribe. We got a lot of good stuff coming in 2025. We are
Yeah.
excited.
Yeah.
But definitely check us out. Definitely comment. Definitely don't be that hater person.
Be the hater. Who cares? That's your opinion. We don't give a shit. That's the
True.
whole thing.
Again,
Like, we
opinions
don't
are like
care. You
assholes. Everybody's got one.
I can see, right? I consider myself Massey. You consider yourself Greek. Anybody else? What your opinion doesn't matter to us.
Exactly.
It
True
just
that.
doesn't matter. And
True that.
it just doesn't matter. Speaking of opinions, I'm going to go off on not even Greek Macedonian, just because we're talking about opinions. Um, and this, maybe we should do it in another episode.
Yes.
Yeah, let's do it in another episode. All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in. This is our first one for 2025. Stay tuned. Yeah, we'll be working on some new stuff. I'll have some other guests on and stuff, and we'll just be shooting the shit. So, like Roula said, like, subscribe, comment, do whatever you want. But thank you for listening.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.